Baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser, bright, crisp, clean, pure. This is Budweiser, this is beer. By Auto Tire, the tire pros. For the lowest bottom line price, you ought to go to Auto Tire. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Shell, made to move. Now, most guys, when they get a chance to go down on the field, they're watching BP, but there's other ways to enjoy yourself. That youngster was having some fun playing in the dirt. Welcome to Busch Stadium. It's game one of a three-game set between the Cardinals and the Pirates. And the Cardinals, what a week a difference can make. The Cardinals lead the division by 5 games. Let's take a look at the Pirates lineup. It does include the league's best hitter in Freddie Sanchez. He's hitting .347 this season. That leads the National League. It'll be Duffy, Bautista, and Sanchez here in the first, then Bay. And we'll see the rest of this Pirates lineup. Xavier Nady, Ryan Dumit, Ronnie Paulino, Jose Castillo, and Zack Duke against the Cardinals' best. And his numbers for Chris Carpenter, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts.
See the 12-6. You see the good ERA, second best in the National League. His home ERA is even better at 1.66, best in the major leagues.
Here's Chris Duffy, and he leads it off. Bullpen has a couple new arms out there, and Jorge Sosa, Josh Hancock, Randy Flores, Braden Looper, Isringhausen, Brad Thompson added to the bullpen, Adam Wainwright, and Tyler Johnson. Big curveball in there for strike 2. We last saw the Pirates. They swept St. Louis.
They have played much better. 2 games over 500 in the second half.
Duffy reaches for it out in front of the plate. That's a fair ball. Molina's got it and fires to Albert Pujols. And that's how we start the game. Behind Chris Carpenter tonight, the defense, as we go around the horn, is brought to you by Auto Tire. 10 career starts against Pittsburgh, an 8-1 record for Carpenter. Taguchi, Encarnacion, and Wilson in the outfield. Roland Miles, Belliard, and Pujols along the infield. And Yadier Molina yet again is behind the plate.
Carpenter this year against the Pirates. This is his 4th start, 3-0, and an ERA under 1.
Cramping was a problem last time for Chris Carpenter. Shouldn't be tonight at 76 degrees.
That was 8 innings of 2 hits, 1 run allowed, and it was a home run, but he was brilliant against the Cubs.
Look at this curveball.
He's got these guys' knees buckling. Duffy said, wow, or uh-oh. We're in trouble tonight. And usually when Carpenter pitches, the opposition is.
Bautista is hitting .255. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Football just around the corner. And we want to thank good folks from Southern Illinois and Jerry Kill for stopping by on the pregame show. They will have a chance to win another national championship. Swing and a miss, and a strikeout of Bautista.
Bucks come into St. Louis swinging the bat very well, and they're 3-0 with a couple late inning dramatics, but they got Carpenter to deal with tonight.
So this is the best. What a surprise this guy has been. Freddie Sanchez. He has been leading the league in hitting since July 3rd.
Great success against Carpenter, but if he gets a hit, more times than not, it's just kind of a flare or a quail. Does a nice job of keeping his hands inside the ball, but he just flares it out to right field.
Look at that curveball. Beautiful. Is he dealing tonight? It's early, but man, does he look sharp.
He's got these guys talking to themselves, and what they're saying is very complimentary of Carp.
Remember Rafael Furcal told Molina start that Carpenter made. He said, I can't believe we even got a hit off him.
I remember Kerry Robinson the year that Carpenter missed the entire year. And remember, he got off, he threw in spring, he went to spring, went to late spring. He threw in Miami early April. Kerry Robinson said it's the best pitcher he saw all year.
1, 2, 3 for Carpenter in the first.
These days, it's out with the old, in.
1 inning by Chris Carpenter. A couple of the strikeouts. 1, 2, 3 go the Pirates. Let's take a look at Tony La Russa's lineup tonight. Back in the leadoff spot, Preston Wilson, followed by Sho Taguchi and Albert Pujols. This season against the Pirates, 4 jacks for Pujols. Then Roland, Encarnacion, Belliard, Miles, Molina, and Chris Carpenter. On the bench tonight, new name has been added to that bench. John Rodriguez There'd be Vizcaíno, Edmonds, Duncan, Spezio, Bennett, Rose, and John Rodriguez. Mike Rose is the backup catcher. Gary Bennett feeling better as well. Wilson is hitting .268, 12 home runs, and 62 RBIs. Zack Duke was the story of the year for the Pittsburgh Pirates a season ago. This year, 8-12. His numbers brought to you by Rico.
He's got up to a good start. Remember, he started the game against the Cardinals, and he was 6 up, 6 down. Then he sprained his ankle on the bases. But he's 2-0 against St. Louis this year.
One of the reasons the Cardinals signed Preston Wilson was to get him in the lineup against left-handed pitching. What we have found, though, is that he can play right, he can play center, he can play left. He can hit just about any spot in the lineup, and I'm sure when he was signed he did not anticipate being in that leadoff spot, but he's done a good job.
Well, kind of explosive and can give you a quick lead.
Mookie Wilson is in attendance tonight.
There is his stepfather, and I was talking to Mookie a little bit. Still one of the most beloved Mets ever, and said this is a great place for Preston to be, and he totally agreed. And I think Preston has really kind of revived his career a little bit. But Mookie's enjoyed watching his stepson play.
Part of a pretty famous game in Mets history back in 1986.
Was Buckner involved?
He was.
It's a shame that that's what so many people only remember Bill Buckner for. Where he had about 2,600 career hits.
Right.
Everybody remembers the ball going through his legs.
Here's Sotoguchi. Punches one foul. Let's see if the Cardinals want to be aggressive here against Pittsburgh, and in particular against Ronnie Paulino, their catcher tonight. Long look by Sotoguchi as Jose Oquendo flashes the signs.
Well, you better be careful because Zack Duke has caught 10 guys. That's second most in the National League to one of his teammates, Pat Mahomes, another lefty. And the Pirates have caught a major league high 45 base runners attempting to steal this year.
Big lead at first by Preston Wilson. Pickoff play that was one of the differences in the game last night.
Oh, boy, was he smart not to cover for first base.
Heads up play by Albert Pujols. Terrible play by Dan Uglo over third, trying to round third. Would have been bases loaded. Instead, it's game over, and the Cardinals take 2 of 3. And a little luck for Isringhausen.
The more you throw over, the more a base steal will detect what you're doing, the more confidence you get.
Strike on the outside corner, 0-2.
Now, there is such a thing as a base runner taking a tremendous lead, but a one-way lead. Like he has no intent to go to second, but he's trying to draw throws, trying to get him to do something. But it's big lead, but he's really going back to first.
Taguchi with a base hit into right. Runners at first and second, nobody out for Albert Pujols. 0-2 mistake by Zack Duke. Behind Duke tonight, the defense as we go around the horn is presented by Auto Tire. Bay, Duffy, Nady in the outfield, Bautista, Sanchez, Castillo, and Dumit along the infield, and Ronnie Paulino is behind the plate. As Al told you, Zack Duke 2-0 against the Cardinals in his young career.
He's only 23, and he's lost his last 2 games.
First pitch to Albert Pujols. Hit down the right field line. That is slicing and out of play. It took a while for the Cardinals to get on the board against Dontrelle Willis last night. Then in the 8th against the bullpen, they exploded for 4 runs and eventually put 5 up on the board. You wonder if that carries over early on into this game tonight.
Well, you hope it does. And remember, the Cardinals play extremely well here at home. They're on a little roll right now, and they're trying to add to it.
Pujols reaches for it and lifts it out to left. The catch is made by Jason Bay. Runners can't advance, and there's 1 out. real good piece of hitting in that 8th inning was Scott Rowland, as he picked up the go-ahead RBI.
Scott was good, but I was talking with Chris Duncan, and he was telling his teammates that I've been seeing a lot of first pitch fastballs. And I said, Mitre really struggled against left-handers. He said, well, I felt extremely comfortable because I faced him all last season. He was a starter in the minor leagues, and I hit him well.
Crushed the pitch over 400 feet, tied the game, and the Cardinals would win it. Brian O'Nora is our home plate umpire tonight. Chuck Merriweather is at first. There will not be a rain delay. Phil Cuzzy at second, and Jerry Crawford, our good buddy, over at third. We had Chuck as the umpire in Colorado. A couple of games looked like should have been stopped because of rain, and Chuck said, nope, not a chance. We continue to play on. We like that style of thinking, that style of play. We want to see it continue on. We don't want to see stoppages.
Well, what better guy to always be a good weather forecaster? Merriweather.
We had to get to Chicago.
Well,
we had things to do that night.
He had things to do too.
We had important things to get to.
Nobody got hurt. Game didn't stop.
3-0 on Scott Rowland. Encarnacion on deck.
One thing about Duke is he has shown a tendency to struggle in the first inning. Takes him a while to get going, but then he finds that sinker. The goal is to get the sinker elevated.
On 3-0, it's a strike right down the middle. First inning runs, 29 allowed, 27 of those have been earned.
28 starts. I think they've scored in 13 of those 28, but you can see that he has some trouble early, but then after he gets into a groove, it keeps the ball at the bottom of the strike zone. He can be tough.
Pirates were off yesterday, and they have won 3 straight games in 6 of their last 9. So they swept Chicago.
This is just the first game of a road trip.
10-game road trip. Had 2 Chicago and then 3 in Cincinnati. At strike 2, full count. The inning started with a walk to Preston Wilson, base hit by Sotoguchi. Pujols lined out. Cardinals grounded into a couple of double plays last night. Let's see if Tony La Russa wants to start the runners here. We asked the question earlier, would they be aggressive? Not a very big lead out there at second base for Preston Wilson. They play behind, of course, Sotoguchi over at first. There they go. And Rowland pops it up. Runners will have to retreat. They've got to hurry. And they're back in time. With 2 outs, it brings in the Cardinal center fielder Juan Encarnacion.
Juan was 5 for 11 in the Marlins series, but even a better homestand, 11 for 24.
17 home runs for Encarnacion, and he's closing in on his career high.
19 when he set in 99 and 03.
Part of that World Championship team with the Marlins in 03. Strike a little low, and Juan didn't like the call at all. I don't blame him.
Kind of went around the plate a little bit, backdoor breaking ball. He give up on it, shaking his head, but
one pitch to Juan Encarnacion. 1 ball, 1 strike. Again, Jim Edmonds on the bench. He played a week ago against Chicago, and remember, he struck out 4 times in that game, and we haven't really seen him since, with the exception of 1 plate appearance. Encarnacion delivers with a base hit into right. And the Cardinals lead it 1-0 as Wilson will score easily. Taguchi into third, and it's a 2-out RBI for Encarnacion, number 70.
A lot of times that first pitch, you know, maybe they'll get the strike on it, but the batter will look for it later on in the count, and that's exactly what Encarnacion did. The breaking ball, it's up a little bit, out away from him. Remember, he tried to backdoor it, and then this time he just hits it out into right field. Gives the Cardinals a 1-run lead and a 2-out base hit. That is great news, but can you add on?
Belliard hits it down the right field line, and that one is going to get out of play. Ronnie has reached base safely in 15 of his last 16 games and has hit in 12 of his last 15. So after a sluggish start, as the Cardinals picked him up from Cleveland in his first, I'd say 10 or 12 games, he's been much better. No balls, 2 strikes. First inning runs adding up for Zack Duke here in 06. And the Cardinals will try to add to this 1-0 lead.
Sometimes with a guy like Carpenter on the mound, the way they're out there, the offense kind of relaxes a little bit because they know he doesn't need a lot.
And the ball gets away. You can make it 2-0 as so Taguchi will score on a wild pitch.
Watch Ronnie Paulino, the catcher, slides over there but didn't really engulf it, and it gets off the glove and deflects away. Easy run score for Taguchi. And Carpenter very focused, just concentrating. It's a shutout that he's got right now, and he thinks he's in a 0-0 game.
Belliard lines it to the shortstop on one hop. Long throw. And the pick over there at first base. Freddie Sanchez is the shortstop tonight. 2 runs. Hey, when you're talking about Carpenter, it might be enough. 2-0 after 1.
Announce it off. SN Midwest.
Take a look at where the umpire is positioning. Look at, he's headless, and look at where this leg is. That could impede the catcher as he tries to make the weight shift and go get that ball. He almost got tripped by the umpire's left leg. I've never seen an umpire position himself that far inside. And look, with an outside pitch, he's almost fully exposed.
Strike 1 on Jason Bay. We'll take another look at it here momentarily as Bay is a day late on that swing.
Well, you'll get a real good idea where Brian O'Nora's left leg is. Watch it where he is. Look at where the Paulino tries to go over there, and he hits the left knee. And you can see how you could have a little collision with an umpire and a catcher just trying to make a weight shift, trying to get a ball in the dirt. And if Molina sets outside, he's fully exposed.
Now it's shades of Jerry Crawford in Houston 2 years ago.
You know, I talked to Tom Pagnazzi because you know what you're talking about is a leaning and pushing on Mike Matheny. Pushed him down as breaking balls were coming in. But I asked him about, you know, what does it feel like? Do you mind when an umpire touches you? And he said, absolutely not. That day, it was a little excessive.
3 strikeouts, 3 of the first 4 for Carpenter. What is the best nickname in Cardinals history? Red, the Mad Hungarian. Who's that? 3 fingers, the man, of course, the truck, Pags. 42957. This is brought to you by Singular Wireless.
We don't have a chance.
No, you're out. You're out. It's going to Pags. You can put it on the board. Yes. Done.
Doesn't matter what our very astute Singular Wireless text messages are. It just automatically, anything that has Pags on it or Pagnazzi on it, just automatically gives a winner.
I saw where you just reached in your back pocket. You couldn't wait to text the Mad Hungarian. How many times are you going to vote tonight?
I put 3 fingers down.
Curveball, and it's pulled foul.
No, that's 2. The curveball.
I got you. I'm with you. Jerry Crawford, though, in that game with Mike Matheny, I mean, it was
ridiculous.
Blatant. It was blatant. He was pushing him. He was holding him. Another curveball hit back to Chris Carpenter. Nady is out number 2. 2 outs, and it brings in Dumit.
Ryan O'Nora, I just never seen him positioned this way. Now watch how he. Pitcher getting ready. Just rest his hand on the back of Molina. And then ball makes contact, runs out there. And of course it hit the ground, so you had to replace it.
Have to.
The baseball. I mean.
Might have a little smudge of dirt on it.
Oh, it might have had a scuff mark.
Now you're going to go into your theory on how baseball has changed, and they do nothing for the pitchers except go ahead and finish it.
It's that little thing back behind there. They clean their spikes that doesn't work either.
You like the old-fashioned
tongue depressor,
right?
No, that's for the hitter. That's more stuff for the hitter. No, that's for Rosenbag, but they got a new one. Okay, that is behind the mound.
That's more like for your golf spikes.
Yeah.
The other one was the white rubber that really didn't stick.
Yeah,
that wasn't really tough enough to get in your cleats and clean them up.
Right. Tongue depressor, you could get back there and kick. That's the only thing they've done for the pitcher. The rosin bag and a little pad to clean your spikes.
3-2 now.
But there's a lot of people believe that the best thing they could do for the game and the pitcher, and more importantly to ease injury, is to elevate the mound again. And so you get pitchers throwing on a downward plane.
Pretty well hit out to deep right field. Should stay in the ballpark. And it will. Preston Wilson, not only can he make the catch, but at the same time he can blow a bubble. 6 up, 6 down.
Closed captioning is brought to you in part by.
Which one's Arcadia? Which one's Oakwood? Mary's in a meeting. Where's Jack? Jack's lost. That's where Jack is.
If everyone had a Magellan roadmate, the world would be a better place. Magellan GPS.
Bottom of the second rolls in here at the new Busch Stadium. Cardinals with a couple of hits and 2 runs. Aaron Miles digs in. The switch hitter looks at a ball on the outside corner. Very good point, Al. I don't think it's brought up enough that maybe that is one of the causes of some of the arm injuries, the fact that the mound has been lowered. You didn't see it before then that much. See it all the time now.
I talked about it a little bit, that there were just as many injuries 40-50 years ago, but because there were no medical procedures to help a Tommy John or a rotator cuff or something like that, either you found a way to pitch through it, you changed your mechanics, you went from a power pitcher to a finesse pitcher, or you went home. And of course Bob Gibson, when he had the 1.12 ERA in '68, they lowered the mound 5 inches. And so many people believe that if you elevated the mound again back to 5 inches, you would take a lot of pressure off the arm and you'd help pitchers reach out and finish off their pitches, and you would take the stress off the elbow and the shoulder.
Grounder hit to short. Freddie Sanchez, 1 away. Cardinal fans, it's back and it's a first. The inaugural Cardinals campout at the new Busch Stadium, presented by Bass Pro Shops. It'll be next Friday. Limited number of Cardinal fans will have the opportunity to spend the night on the field. That is September 8th. The cost is $175 for adults ages 16 and over, $75 for children ages 15 and under, and children ages 3 and under are free. And a portion of the proceeds benefit Camp Coca-Cola. Molina is out number 2. We used to get emails about this all the time, but Major League Baseball will come in and they will measure how high the mound is. They'll make sure it's up to specifications.
Usually twice a season. That the umpires have, will go out there and measure the height and the slope and find it inside their specifications, because some clubs have been known to you know, early in the season when they go through it, then they'll raise their mound to an illegal height and try to get away with it as long as they can. Another reason, you know, you see so many pitchers today, they always try to accentuate height to artificially create that, you know, that steep incline. You get the taller they are, they feel it's easier to reach out and to you know, artificially associate that 5 extra inches.
Here's a 2-1 pitch to Carpenter with 2 outs and nobody on, and he hits it sharply to Sanchez. Cardinals go 1-2-3. Carpenter back to work. It'll be Paulino, Castillo, and Duke coming up for Pittsburgh.
Hey, what's
College football Saturday returns this week with a triple-header, beginning with North Texas taking on second-ranked Texas. Then Louisiana Tech battles 22nd-ranked Nebraska. And then Utah squares off against UCLA. It all begins tomorrow with the kickoff show presented by Kyocera at 10:30 tomorrow morning on FSM Midwest. Partner, this is my favorite time of year. Football is here. Fall is coming up. Baseball is in the final stages of the regular season. Great pennant races. Love it.
You can find something every afternoon and night to do in the fall. Fall Classic, as you said, the football.
Fastball and a strike to Paulino. Cardinals have opened up a 5-game lead now in the Central Division. Pujols over, and he's going to run out of room. That's out of play.
Cincinnati will continue their long road trip on the West Coast with 3 games in San Diego.
Chicago has already won today, 6-2 over San Francisco. And the Giants are right back in the wild card hunt. They started play today, 2.5 games back.
So currently 3.
Instance there where you see a catcher set up either inside or outside. The pitch is over the middle of the plate, looks like a strike, but because of where he's set up, doesn't get the call.
Yes.
Curveball hung it, and it's a base hit.
Leno has been really a nice find. Remember, we were in Pittsburgh early in the season, and they brought him up because Drummond was injured and just going to be there the weekend. Probably wasn't going to play. And tonight he's making what is like his 97th start behind the plate.
Pittsburgh gave up Roberto Hernandez to New York. And I was a little surprised they gave up on Oliver Perez, who looked to be just an unbelievable talent when he first got to the big leagues.
I think the Pirates feel that they were made better through subtraction.
He was roughed up too in his start in Colorado.
Well, I talked to Jim Tracy a little bit that, you know, yeah, he's got a wealth of talent, but kind of was not so much a disruptive force, but he was just, you know, he didn't buy into their program, and Nady has just been outstanding for them. So they've got a lot of young pitchers here. They're starting to really mature right there on the mound in front of Tracy's eyes, and he likes what he has. But sometimes you can, that one guy that kind of, you know, spoils the basket.
And Pittsburgh, because their team has struggled for so many seasons now, a lot of their individual performances and players get overlooked, and one of the guys I really like is at the plate. That's Castillo. Wild pitch by Carpenter, and Paulino will advance to second base. Castillo was hurt in a game last year at Busch Stadium. It's a double play ball, and I believe it was Luna who slid into him and tore up his knee, but he is a good player.
And Jack Wilson, who normally is his shortstop when he's playing second base, he's got vertigo. He's got an inner ear infection and got a little taste of vertigo right now.
He's had a couple of tough years. Had his appendix removed right before spring training 2 years ago. Lost a bunch of weight. Took him about half the season to get his strength back. And now vertigo. 2-2 the count on Castillo, who's hitting .276, 14 home runs, 63 RBIs, and he turns a double play as well as anybody. Hits it to the right side, and the runner will advance. So a productive out from Jose Castillo, but it brings in the pitcher, so a chance for Carpenter to get out of this inning unscathed. 1 out.
Zack Duke, you know, had a game earlier this year against the Cardinals where he had 3 hits.
First pitch to Duke. Curveball misses in. It's been a rough go for the Pirates on the road. They've got 16 road games remaining after tonight, and they are 17-48 this season. He chops it. Pujols' only play is to go to Carpenter, and a runner will score from third. It's 2-1. RBI for Zack Duke, his 7th. This Sky Pirati telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC. Pirates are actually above 500 at home at 36-33. You have to go back to 1952 to find a team that has played worse than what we've seen this year out of the 06 Pirates. They were 19-58 that season. Curveball little high.
Duffy kind of went on the involuntary retirement list as he objected to be sent out AAA earlier this year. Sat out for a couple months and then decided that, okay, wanted to resume playing. And there were no hard feelings because he's getting play.
A grounder that is foul. Now, Al, I could be technical about this road record if you'd like me to.
Yes, I definitely would.
Before 1891, the Pittsburgh franchise was known as the Alleghenies.
I knew that.
And in 1890, the Pittsburgh Alleghenies went 9-88 on the road, an .093 percentage, the worst all time in the major leagues.
Sounds like Kansas City.
Duffy lifts it out to right field. Pirates get on the board. Zack Duke an RBI cuts a lead at 2-1. Top of the order coming up. Wilson, Taguchi, and Pujols.
Capture the inaugural book, Busch Stadium, the first season
of Cardinal baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Kia Motors. Kia, the power to surprise. By Sonic, it's not just good, it's Sonic good. And by Rico, move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. Al Verboski, Dan McLaughlin, and our Bud Productions crew here in St. Louis. Top of the order for the Cardinals. They lead it 2-1. Preston Wilson walked and scored the first.
Kind of a weird line score up there.
Wilson gets underneath it. Out to deep left center field. At the track, at the wall. Goodbye. With Dad in the stands, Preston Wilson goes deep. And it's 3-1. Mookie?
Nah, that's, you know, Dan, the few times,
get him showing some emotion down there.
the few times I sit in the stands, and here you see a nice thing about Preston is that ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark. You make a mistake, he strikes out an awful lot, but he can be productive. But when you sit, you know, an ex-ball player sits in the stands, you know, you just really sit there. You take it all in. There's the family all excited and everything, but you really try not to show a lot of emotion. And sometimes it's real hard to hear all the comments that you hear, you know, from the fans. On Sunday night, I was sitting watching the game too.
Grounder hit to second. Taguchi retired.
showed no expression, showed nothing until Bennett hit the grand slam. And then I became the real fan.
Al, we have actually seen even Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa, when Chris Duncan does something, they've actually cracked a smile. We have seen it.
And I was with talking to Girardi yesterday when Dave Duncan came up to him and said, "What's it like having your son there?" And you know, he said, "You know, it's thrilling, it's exciting, but it's really weird." You know, you try not to show, but you know, all of a sudden the father comes out in you. But you know, he said, "You know, I'm really enjoying it." He's seen his son play more this year than he's ever seen in his lifetime. He was always employed.
Yeah, he's always been with Tony La Russa in the major leagues as a coach or even as a player.
27 years as a, you know, 27 years as a pitching coach.
Pujols fights it off. And he is out with the catch made by Dumit.
Chris is 25.
Brings in Scott Rowland with 2 outs. So Preston Wilson picking up his 13th home run, 63rd RBI. Ground ball right side. Castillo, good effort, can't come up with it, and it's a base hit for Scott Rowland. I'm sure for the Houston Astros, they're trying to figure out why wasn't Preston Wilson hitting for power when they had him.
Well, you know, he was second on their team with RBIs, and you know, it's kind of a natural question when he came over. But Mookie even said, he'll be productive in St. Louis. That was not a good fit for him. The worst offense in the National League, Houston, and then they get rid of their second most productive RBI man. And then they tried to make the excuse, well, most of that production was early in the season.
Why did Mookie feel that Houston was not the right fit?
I've never asked him that, but I've seen he's been quoted with that. But he also said St. Louis was going to be a good fit for Preston.
Mookie knows all about rivalry with New York and St. Louis. And I'm sure Preston does as well.
Yeah, you come over here, you get energized being in a pennant race. He's played with so many of these guys, so he was readily accepted in the clubhouse right away.
Little squibber off the bat of Encarnacion. Duke has it. And that's out number 3. Preston Wilson, a home run measured at 398 feet. 3-1 St. Louis.
At your Dodge.
Back to live action. And Miles comes up with a play. Off the bat of Jose Bautista. 1 pitch, 1 out as we start the top of the 4th. Cardinals lead at 3-1, and let's check in with Joel.
Well, Dan, joined by Mookie Wilson. We've been talking a lot about you tonight, and got to be nice to see your stepson Mookie playing so well and hitting the homer tonight.
Well, he's doing well. He's doing everything so far that a leadoff hitter should do. Walk in the first inning, come back and hit a home run. That's pretty good.
And what about for you being here? How strange is this being, you know, there are a lot of St. Louisans that didn't love Mookie Wilson and the Mets way back when.
Well, it's a little weird pulling for the Cardinals. I don't know, but going by our past history, we have a lot of classic battles here. But, you know, it's a great baseball town. This is a very good team, and, you know, I've really enjoyed it.
And finally, what about those days in the 80s? Such a great rivalry. I know everybody called you Pond Scum here, but you guys were a great team. What are some of your favorite memories from back then?
Pond Scum seems to be a good memory. It was a good rivalry, and we always enjoyed coming to St. Louis. Didn't know, in spite of what the rivalry, the fans have always been good to us. They love good baseball, but, you know, coming back here as a spectator, this is a baseball town, one of the best in the city, in the country.
Well, welcome back to St. Louis, and we got Mookie Wilson's daughter here as well. I think she wanted to say hi.
Oh, granddaughter.
Yeah.
Congratulations, everybody.
All right, that's Mookie Wilson's daughter, Preston's granddaughter. Dan, she may have a career taking your job.
All right, Joel, thanks.
Mookie Wilson's daughter and Preston's granddaughter?
I think we know where he's going.
Congratulations.
We know what was going on. She's going to take my job, huh? Miles comes up with it.
Wasn't that what that little beauty said? That, you know, congratulations, everyone.
I like the Pond Scum comment. You know, Those guys, when they were considered pond scum, it was an affectionate term. The fans would call the Mets pond scum.
If I'm not mistaken, J.C. Corcoran.
He was the one that started that.
He started that,
yeah.
Right. Of course, we won't talk about what his favorite team is.
Well, we've got friends in the media like you wouldn't believe, from cornbread to J.C. Corcoran.
Because
you are well thought of, Al.
J.C. is, from Chicago.
That's right.
And the north side.
It's a broken bat and a foul ball out of play. Cardinal fans, the pennant race is heating up. Stay on top of all the action with mobile alerts from STLCardinals.com. And you can use your mobile phone and text the keyword Cardinals to 65246 to find out more. Two ground balls to short. Jason Bay struck out his first time up against Carpenter. And Bay is hitting under 100 in his career against Carpenter.
We showed earlier the positioning of the home plate umpire so exaggerated on the inside part of the plate. He has to just guess on a pitch away.
4 strikeouts tonight for Chris Carpenter. Cardinals lead it. It's 3-1 midway through the 4th. Theme tonight, our Dayton baseball history. Cardinal moundsman Vinegar Ben Mizell beat the Reds 1-0. The Southpaw establishes a record in that ball game. That was back in 1958. And our Schnooks this date in baseball history.
He walked 9 and
no runs.
Pitched a shutout. And it wasn't a no-hitter.
Belliard grounds it to the third baseman, handled by Bautista for the first out.
Jim Colburn threw a no-hitter, and I think he walked quite a few of it. The pitching coach for the Pirates, and Joe Cowley, who is a sheriff, I believe, in Kentucky, and was a teammate of our illustrious director Tom Meade. But he threw a no-hitter one time, and I think walked 6 or 7. Gets a little tainted that way. There's Jim Colburn on your right. Jim Tracy, the manager, on the left. Jimmy is the pitching coach here for the Pirates.
Miles rips it out to left, and that's a base hit. 1 out hit for Aaron Miles, and he's 1 for 2. Here's Yadier Molina. He tapped back to the pitcher Zack Duke, his first time up.
Colburn was pitching for Whitey Herzog in the Kansas City Royals. Porter was a catcher. He was later traded to Seattle for Steve Braun, who in 1982, the first game of that World Championship season, Steve Braun was the third baseman. Excellent pinch hitter. And I remember Colburn, Whitey's teams were so advanced by today, back then, but the norm today with the defensive charts that Whitey would fill those out himself. But Colburn was an 18-game winner with Kansas City.
Molina, shallow right field.
He went to Seattle the next year. He's out of baseball because he said they had no idea where to position people. He said he was so accustomed to Whitey's charts. He'd throw a pitch exactly where he wanted. He said, oh, that's a ground ball right to second baseman. He'd turn and it would be into right center for an extra base hit. So what happened to second baseman?
There's Chris Carpenter. For whatever reason this season, Al, the Cardinals have struggled mightily against left-handed pitching. Redbirds have a .271 average against lefties. As Carpenter hits it out to left field, Bay was backing up. And it's a base hit for the Cardinals starter. He's 1 for 2.
And last year they had a good record. They were in double figures over their losses against left-handed starters.
You put your finger on it this year?
No.
Just one of those things.
Well, I think, one of the factors is that Jim Edmonds hit better against left-handers last year than right-handers, and this year he's about 160.
Here's Preston Wilson with Houston. 102 games. He had 9 home runs with the Cardinals, and this is updated tonight. 12th game, 4 home runs. So not a bad start for Preston Wilson. On base twice tonight.
And he has 8 RBIs in 10+ games. The plus being this one.
He had 6 stolen bases in 102 games with the Astros, already 3 with the Cardinals. Runners at first and second. A 1-0 pitch is tapped to Duke. Off the mound, he'll make the play, and the Cardinals strand 2. 5th inning. Rolls in here at Busch Stadium, and the Cardinals lead at 3-1.
Pop quiz. What midsize SUV's interior a class-leading...
Affleck trivia question tonight. So we move to the top of the 5th. What was Dizzy Dean's given name? Nickname theme tonight.
Well, we went out on the limb tonight, didn't we?
We sure did. Cardinals with 6 hits, and they lead it 3-1. Out on that wall, number 42 will be added with the name of Bruce Sutter. That will be next year. Fairly, Al, we've got a tight race in the singular wireless nickname question as Roland makes the play to his left.
Other just passed me for last place.
That's what I heard.
Yep.
Hang in there, though. Keep typing away, texting your vote. I'm pulling for you.
Yeah, they're going to retire Sutter's number, I believe, on September 17th. Yeah, this year.
I misspoke. I thought it was next year.
Well, it's my understanding, because that's when he's coming in for Whitey's golf tournament to benefit Whitey Herzog Youth Foundation, celebrity dinner and auction, golf classic, September 17th and 18th. Got the Sunday night dinner, and then Monday the golf tournament.
Loses the bat, hit to short. 2 outs.
Ground balls are working, aren't they?
You ready for the Affleck trivia question?
Yep.
Let's take a look.
Affleck!
What was Dizzy Dean's given name? Jay Hanadine. You don't miss many, Al. I'm sure you were all over that.
I knew it. You know, this year for Whitey's event, he's got the Hall of Famers. There's 3 Hall of Famers going to honor. Start with the number 1 is George Brett. Number 2 is Ozzie Smith. And then the newest Hall of Famer that Whitey managed would be Bruce Sutter.
Apparently Red Shandy's is neck and neck with the Mad Hungarian.
Right, no, that's...
I'm just telling you, Al,
how can a Hall of Famer be tied with a Hall of Shamer?
You zip it right now.
He should be ahead of me.
Zip it. I'm telling you what the guys in the truck are telling me.
I'm voting for red.
Every time I do that, then I'm the one that gets yelled at. I'm just relaying the information to you. They say you are neck and neck right now.
I think you just passed me with that.
Now he just passed you.
Yeah.
We just got an update.
The votes are coming in. 100 votes a second.
Castillo hits it to short, force play. Fire and strand a runner. Their first of the night. Carpenter threw 5, and it's 3-1.
This is the famous
Cardinals crew will be shown at a different time this weekend due to football, so tune in Sunday afternoon 12:30 to discover who operates the Busch Stadium fireworks that light up the sky whenever a Cardinal hits a home run. Also a special triple header of big league tips. Pujols, Carpenter, and Eckstein on that feature. Cardinals crew is brought to you by Grant's Farm, Sunday at 12:30 on FSN. Here's So Taguchi, followed by Albert Pujols and Scott Rowland. And so is 1-4-3. 1 pitch, 1 out. That's how we start the bottom of the 5th. That brings in Albert Pujols, who is 0 for 2. Al, you got to pay attention.
I saw this gentleman earlier.
Come on, work with me here. He's a unique guy on our team.
If you cut him in half, and kept the little red thing on his chin, it would be Spezia.
There you go. There you go.
You didn't think I was going to get that one?
I question you sometimes on some different things.
Okay, you're not added to the list.
Well, you must be talking about the list that I was talking with the guys during the truck in the break, that apparently if you win tonight for the Mad Hungarian, it's an open tab over at the ballpark saloon for the guys in the truck and me. And I appreciate that. That's very giving of you, Al.
That's if I win, but you know, Pags is, remember who Pags is, and the truck.
Pags became a favorite for certain things. And he helped out the guys on the road an awful lot, Al. As the umpire was hit the mask. It's 2 balls and a strike on Albert Pujols. Reaches for it. Hits it to short. Pujols is 0 for 3 tonight. I'm not on the list. What list?
Well, if you're going to go with me Tuesday list,
I'm in. For whatever it is.
Noel needs some information from you then.
All right. The umpire is going to check with Barry Weinberg. Now we are Tuesday headed to Washington. We'll be in Washington.
Right. Need your social security number.
All right.
Immediately.
Assuming you don't want me to give it out over the air.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Got an eyelash.
Contact maybe.
Very kind. Thank you.
Usually good if those guys can see.
Well, there's a million jokes you could add to that one right now.
2 outs, nobody on for Scott Rowland. Rowland with a base hit to right earlier, and he does so again. Been going to right field an awful lot the last few games.
Well, it's such a wise approach because you stay on the ball. You know, sometimes you'll go inside out, but many times it's just where the pitch location is. And if you concentrate going up the middle, you have the ability to go to the opposite field. They make a mistake and get it inside, then you can turn on that pitch and keep everything fair. That's one of the real keys, is keeping the ball fair. Never been to the White House?
I have not.
Well, that's, if you give me your social security number, you can go.
It's going to change, huh?
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Al.
Noel and his friends will take care of it.
Sounds good. Went to the Pentagon with the Blues last year. Eye-opening experience.
Few people work in that building, don't they?
Oof, unbelievable how big it is.
You think you could get lost in there?
Yeah, real easily.
I think it's still, what, the world's largest office building?
It's neat to see the area that had been rebuilt after 9/11. It was a great experience, I know, for the servicemen and women as well, to meet the players and have pictures taken and autographs.
I mean, I just don't understand this positioning. And he does everything he can to bend his body to try and keep his head somewhere.
One of the best vantage points is up here in the booth, and you can see from behind just where he is situated behind the catcher.
You know, with the old American League with the balloon chest protectors, they would stand tall but they had that big protection where they just basically stand up and have it right underneath their chin, and it was, you know, what, 6, 7, 8 inches deep. And it was always, back then, the American League was more of a high ball league. The National League, where they had the current inside chest protector, they would get down lower and behind the catcher for protection. But I asked somebody one time, and I think it was Dave Duncan, I said, why do all umpires set up inside? And you know what his answer was? Set up inside because if you're out over the plate and a foul ball on the sweet part of the bat, it comes back at a higher velocity. If you're inside, it's more on the handle and you don't get quite the force. Whether that's true or not, but it. And then you take Honora to another extreme, the way he hides. He's like terrified of getting hit by a foul ball.
2-2 pitch. In your opinion, do you think it's affected him that much tonight? Has he missed a lot of pitches?
Well, you know, a lot of them sit in so far inside that they can only guess on the outside pitch because they can't see around the catcher.
Ripped out to left off the bat of Encarnacion. First and second for Belliard.
Cardinals have 8 hits, but they've been scattered. And the goal was to get the ball up a little bit because he has the ability with a good power sinker to get so many ground balls. And it's a good thing he can field his own position because he's been a part of, you know, 3 little tappers back at him. The pitcher.
Ronnie Belliard has grounded out to short and grounded to third. First and second, 2 outs. Cardinals with a 2-run lead. Ball that gets away, but Roland can't advance. RBIs tonight for Preston Wilson, a solo home run in the third. Encarnacion with an RBI base hit, and so Taguchi scored a run on a wild pitch. Shot from our center field camera.
I'll watch when he gets in position. He's almost headless. Home plate umpire gets down there and not yet, but
over Duke. Sanchez has to be quick, and he makes the play. The Cardinals have stranded 6 tonight, and they lead it 3-1.
It's best. What midsize SUV?
Stadium Yearbook, it's available now, and it's one collectible you don't want to miss. 320 pages, and this book has it all for only $20, and you can order it now at 345-9000. If you're out and about, visit any Borders, Walden Books, Shop and Save, or Dearborn's. That's a good play.
It's a very good play. Do or die type play. And you know, you were right when you were talking about Castillo, one of outstanding young talents, and he makes a play. Tough pitch for Miles to bunt, and because it was inside, he couldn't deaden it the way he wanted to. Bunted hard enough to get it by the pitcher, but he had too much solid wood on it that it, even though it took a terrific play by the second baseman, he was equal to the task.
Molino for 2. Average at 214. 5 home runs, 42 RBIs. After watching him in spring, you just thought that it would be a better season offensively for Yadier Molina.
We talked about it the other day. You know, Yadi, I said, you know, and be the first one to say he's disappointed with the offense, but by the same token, those 42 RBIs are a lot more RBIs than guys that are hitting near 300. So he's been productive, and unfortunately, when he went out recently with that strained elbow, he was really driving the ball.
It's to short, and Molina's 0 for 3, and it brings in Carpenter. September 10th, Fox NFL Sunday returns with an exciting doubleheader action beginning with Sean Alexander leading the Seahawks into Detroit to take on the Lions, or Drew Bledsoe and the Cowboys battle Byron Leftwich. The Jaguars. Other regional action as well. It all begins September 10th, 11 Central here on Fox. Sanchez is at short tonight, but he's using Jack Wilson's glove. I could pick that up from here.
Yeah.
You see that stitching all the way from the booth. Another ground ball to Duke. Steps and throws. Cardinals go 1-2-3, and the 7th inning rolls in at Busch Stadium. Cardinals on top 3-1. Our What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light as we welcome you back inside Busch Stadium. Saturday night, Jeff Weaver and Sean Chacon, the former Yankee and Rocky. Pirates and Cardinals on WB11 with Wayne and Ricky tomorrow night. That'll come your way at 6. Chris Carpenter pitches by inning, 74 on the night. As we start the top of the 7th, and 54 of those 74 have been strikes. He is going to have a chance, and certainly he is in the conversation right now as far as Cy Young Award.
Absolutely, and unfortunately he didn't get the win with his outstanding effort last Saturday, but that would have helped his cause. But the way he's pitching, and he'll have enough starts left to keep on making his statement.
He is second in ERA at 2.96.
It's doubtful anybody's going to have 20 wins this year.
Yeah, the tops in wins is 14, and there are 5 with 14 wins. Aaron Harang at 13, along with Pettit, and 7 with 12.
And Carpenter with another strikeout, his 6th of the night. He came in with the best home ERA in the major leagues and the 2nd best ERA in the National League.
So Bay strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. He's 0 for 3.
And the bottom fall out of that pitch. Josh Johnson, the rookie for Florida, leads the league in ERA. And it's not that far behind Carpenter, and maybe with tonight's effort he might, drop it below Johnson.
Looking at the schedule, Carpenter could get 5 more starts as he hits 80. His next start will be Wednesday at Washington.
He's got some good power, came from the Mets and that Perez and Roberto Hernandez, but he got it right in there. And real speed, couldn't get out of the way of it. I say, if you're going to pitch inside, make sure it's in. That was in.
That's in. Dumet looks at a strike. He is grounded out to short and fly to right.
I mean, Dumet is a switch hitter, only batting 195, and yet he has really hit Carpenter well.
Got to figure Brandon Webb would be in that conversation. How about a double play ball? Be tough. Miles can get the lead man, and they got him. Miles was stumbling, hit the dirt, and got it away to Belliard, covering at second base.
Would have been real tough for him to turn double play once he found himself on the ground, but he's playing way up the middle. And so this ball is just perfectly placed at normal shortstop depth. So he has to go to his right, kind of stumbled right there from his knees. He fires to second base. They get the lead runner. And he really didn't have a good grip on that ball either, but got it in the vicinity for Belliard to make the play.
Paulino on the first pitch. Roland thought about going to second. Over to Albert Pujols. It's time to stretch here in St. Louis. Carpenter and the Cardinals rolling along. It's 3-1.
I'll take Zagar.
Interesting night for the Cardinal leadoff man, Preston Wilson. First time up, Preston would walk and score. Second time up, Solo home run that was in the third. Can walk and chew gum and catch a fly ball at the same time. We also mixed in the air out there in right with Mookie Wilson, his stepdad in the crowd tonight, and his family as well.
And Mookie said he's doing everything a leadoff hitter should do, and then he had to show him what he shouldn't do with the error.
Wilson drills it out to left field. That's going to hold up for Bay. Michelle Brown is tonight's merchandise winner in the Hyundai Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run in the 7th, Michelle qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. So Taguchi, one of the Cardinal hitters that went to right field his first time up, singled and scored on a wild pitch, and he twice has tried to go to right, grounded out to the second baseman Castillo. Youngster Zack Duke has pitched well tonight. Carpenter just a little bit better.
Wow, he's scattered 8 hits, but he's got the ground ball outs when he needed to. You're absolutely right. You know, he's been a nice addition at 23 to these Pirates.
Catch is made by Nady. 2 down, and it brings in Albert Pujols, who has had a frustrating night. Pujols twice has grounded out, or rather once has grounded out to short. He has popped out to the first baseman and fly to left. Home run update for the Pujols Family Foundation, brought to you by Hardee's, home of the Thick Burger. 39 dingers for Pujols. $19,500 has been raised. Her 6th birthday. Let's see if Albert can give you that home run. Albert is sitting on 39 home runs, 109 driven in.
40, 110 would be a nice total. Closer to that run scored century mark.
Ground ball to the second baseman Castillo, and Pujols a rare 0 for 4 night. 7 innings in the books. It's 3-1 St. Louis.
Quiz
for the
Seen the bar, brought to you by Singular. Here we go. What is the best nickname in Cardinals history? The votes are in, Al.
No way.
Get ready to buck up, partner. I love it.
Okay.
We're headed to the saloon tonight, baby.
Yeah. And then you'll be at the end of a month and a half. I'll see you in rehab. I'll come visit you.
Out to center field. Encarnacion puts it away. That's a nice guy, Al. I mean,
I didn't mean you. I meant the guys in the truck.
Guys in the truck are going to be headed over there tonight.
Nearly 3-1 strikes to balls.
Big Dog wants to go too.
Big Dog is he's in. He's locked in.
Timmy?
Everybody but Tim.
Garcia can't go. I'm liking this night even more.
He's studying the media guys for us.
Extensive research night in and night out. Apparently Pagnazzi just called the truck.
Pags, you know, for what, 10 years? He bought every drink for those guys in the truck, and you see how they sold him out just like that.
So what have you done for me lately, Al?
Knowing Pags, he's still done something for him. Sorry, Pags, I was shocked.
Jack Wilson, pinch hitter here for Zack Duke. So good night for Duke, but trailing 3-1.
Talking about this outstanding, fine young shortstop that was a Cardinal farmhand. You know, fighting an inner ear infection, and it's right now he described it as vertigo. I said he and Edmonds could get together and have a great conversation. I think we could add all umpires too.
On the outside corner and a strikeout. Strikeout number 7.
Set up outside. And Carpenter threads the needle. Little pull back to the strike to the corner from Molina to sell the pitch.
2 outs, nobody on, and Carpenter is just sailing through. Boy, he is so much fun to watch.
Well, pitching like this is just a clinic.
Strike 2, nasty breaking ball.
You know who the Pirates have in their bullpen? Britt Reams.
Remember Britt? How about Travis Smith? Remember Travis Smith?
Travis Smith was called up by somebody. Was it
Atlanta?
Houston? Atlanta? Okay.
1-2 pitch. Curveball is pulled foul.
When I was going to therapy on my shoulder, Simon Tachi would be there every now and then. He's been rehabbing his shoulder. He's had a tough time coming back.
1-2 is pulled foul again. Duffy singled. Back in the 6th inning, he is flying to right and grounded out. We're in the 8th, and the Cardinals lead at 3-1. Pitch count at 93 for Chris Carpenter tonight. Inside fastball, struck him out. Bottom of the 8th, rolls in. It's 3-1. It's by Pitch feature is brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers.
See, starts him off with a curveball and a sinking fastball and a little cutter there. It's him reaching and puts him away with a fastball. He couldn't pull the trigger. 8 strikeouts on the night for Carpenter. Only 3 hits allowed. And he scored 1 run on 1 hit and a ground out. But Carpenter was involved in that as the wild pitch moved him first to second base.
New pitcher in, Brian Rogers. No ERA, no innings pitched, no record. Right-hander for Pittsburgh out of their bullpen. Call to the bullpen is brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers.
This year he was at Erie, Altoona, and Indianapolis. Minor league totals 17 and 14, 3.33 ERA, and 135 games, 35 starts. This is his major league debut.
Well, our hearts go out to Amanda Cates and her family. The city of Normandy wishes her family the best, and her husband, police officer, died in the line of duty. So we wish that family the best.
Well, we know the great organization, the Backstoppers, will do everything they can to help out the family, but you know, I think the organization, the Backstoppers, would just wish they would never ever have to, you know, help out any of these families of firemen and police officers. Remember once again the boxing match between the
Guns and
Hoses. You know, Thanksgiving Eve, I was telling Bennett about it, and I gave him one of the hats from last year's event. But that is just a tremendous event. 17,000 will be Savas Center to watch the firemen and the police officers to benefit the backstoppers. And they put on quite a show.
Yes, they do.
And I mean, they have people that volunteer to do it, and they train for months and don't make it. They have so many, you know, but they'll have what 12, 15 bouts. Have you ever been to it?
I have. It's
yeah,
great.
I go to it every year,
it.
and you know, Jerry Clinton and the late Merle Taylor came up with that idea, and the Cardinals have one of the most successful in the country. They do it in New York City, and they do it a few other places. Now people are modeling the Cardinal model, or the St. Louis model, and they put on quite a show, and all those proceeds go to the backstoppers.
Pitch just missed in. Brian Rogers from Dallas, Texas, 6'4", 195. Part of the Sean Casey deal from Detroit.
And went to Georgia Southern University. Graduated from high school in the Kennesaw Mountain. That's where, right around where Bruce Sutter lives, and right outside of Atlanta. Another outstanding talent.
Rolling here, Encarnacion and Belliard. Popped up behind home plate, and that's going to find the seats out of play.
Scott's been swinging the bat well. A couple hits here tonight.
Chris Muskoff, who helps us here in the booth, we were discussing between innings who might be Cy Young Award candidates. You got to figure Brandon Webb will be there from Arizona. He's 14-5. Johnson, who you really like, is 12-6 for Florida, 2.87 ERA. Carlos Zambrano will have a shot. He's closing in on 200 innings. He's 14-5. Brad Penny from the Dodgers started the All-Star game for the National League, and even a guy like Trevor Hoffman will be considered and be part of the conversation. College football Saturday returns this week with a triple header beginning with North Texas taking on second-ranked Texas. Then Louisiana Tech battles 22nd-ranked Nebraska. Then Utah squares off against UCLA. All begins tomorrow with the kickoff show presented by Kyocera at 10:30 on FSN Midwest.
You know, you talk about Trevor Hoffman, the outstanding closer, and he's closing in on the all-time saves leader. He'll pass Lee Smith.
He's got 35 this year to lead the league.
But that's how a reliever wins it, is when you don't have a dominant or a non-20 game winning, you know, starting pitcher. A lot of people believe that the closer is probably more suited and more viable to be included in the competition for the MVP than maybe Cy Young.
Hoffman this year is at 50 innings pitched at the start of play tonight and only 11 earned runs. Encarnacion showing bunt. One thing that may hurt Carpenter is a lack of run support, and it's cost him a few wins, and it cost Roger Clemens a year ago.
Cardinals would like to say hello to Nick Greathouse in Casey, Illinois. Nick is recovering from a recent heart surgery, and we wish him the best of luck and a speedy recovery. So get back out here, Nick.
Popped up right side and out of play. To further the point, 6 times this year Carpenter has pitched at least 7 innings, allowed no more than 1 earned run, and not picked up the victory.
Well, in his 6 losses, St. Louis has scored a total of 15 runs. So he'll be the last one to say anything. He just goes out there and does his job. Last year he was 21-5 in 33 starts.
Here's the 0-2 pitch to Juan. Popped up left side, foul territory, and the catch is made. Cardinal Baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser, who thanks you for being a designated driver. by Chevrolet. See your Mid-America Chevy dealer today. Chevy and American Revolution. And by Advance Auto, we're ready in advance.
Mets are visiting Houston, and they're tied 6-6 in the 6th. Florida moved from St. Louis to Milwaukee, and they're leading in the 7th, 3-1. Kansas City been playing much better of late. They have a 7-1 lead over the White Sox in the 6th.
Belliard has had a tough night, 0 for 3, 3 groundouts. He alone has stranded 3 runners. Cardinals on the night have left 6 on. Runner at first is Scott Rowland. No balls, 2 strikes on Ronnie Belliard. Double play ball. 6, 4, 3. We move to the 9th. Carpenter will try to finish it off. It's 3-1. Chris Carpenter has been dominant tonight. Cardinals lead it 3-1. This is our Jack of the Box game recap, and it's all Mr. Carpenter, the reigning Cy Young Award winner. If he can finish it off, this would be his 3rd complete game of the season and his 2nd complete game in his last 4 starts. Dominant. 3 hits, 1 run allowed. Fastball and a strike to Bautista.
You know, you look back and you say that one little spell where he went on the disabled list and missed a little time probably has kept him really sharp right now.
Out number 1. Midwest Sports Report is coming up after the game. Let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Coming up after the game on the Busch Light Midwest Sports Report, reaction from the Cardinal clubhouse, plus Tony La Russa live. The Rams get a new running back, plus Joe Strauss, and your phone calls at 1-888-RING-FOX. That's coming up after the game. For now, we go back to Dan and Al.
All right, Jim, thanks. 1 out here in the 9th. Broken bat. Miles. 2 outs. Can't be much better.
No.
Last base hit was in the 6th. The fans, sold out crowd again tonight, rise. Pitch count at 100 for Carpenter.
Well, he's got 12 ground ball outs and 8 strikeouts.
Ground ball left side. This will do it. Carpenter the complete game, and the Cardinals take game 1. 3-1 the final. 3-8-1 for St. Louis. 1-3-0 for Pittsburgh. Chris Carpenter improves to 13-6. ERA will drop again. Win number 7.